Marhaba Craving Palestine family, thank you for joining us in a new episode of Hekayat Baladna. Our guest today joins us from Paris, musician, composer, oud maestro Wissam Joubran from Trio Joubran. Wissam is also a recipe contributor in our Craving Palestine cookbook. Let's start with your Palestinian roots.
Well, my parents, they come from Nazareth and they are still living in Nazareth. They never leave Nazareth. For them, Nazareth, it's a big, it's like very symbolic because it's the biggest Arabic town in Palestine. And we resisted, and the war of 48. My father was telling me all the time, resistance by the music, by the art. Even they were organizing all the manifestations against the occupation, using the music, using the pieces of wood to make all the signs against occupation. So we were living in this kind of ambience from day one. My parents, they met each other because they were singing in the same orchestra, let's say, or choral. They fell in love with each other, and that's how it started.
Now you grew up in Nazareth. Can you share that experience with us?
I was born in a family that educated me from day one. I was educated with the Arabic culture, proud to be Palestinian, proud of each detail from the kitchen. I remember something, this is very nice detail. When I was a kid, I remember my own father, he was making the instruments in the kitchen. Wow. So we were smelling the food mixed with the smell of wood. And then we have this newborn, the oud. Each month or each 2 months, we have a new instrument. It's like a member of our family. And we consider that music and the instruments itself, it's our, let's say, weapon, peaceful weapon against occupation. I was educated actually from day one how to, to respect who I am, where I come from, my language, my kitchen, my everything. Actually, my parents are very proud where they come from, and I continue this journey with my brothers. When we go on stage, we present where we come from, our language, our voices, our the way we dress, everything actually, the way we live. It comes from this simplicity that we have in Palestine.
Your childhood in Nazareth, what memories stand out?
I have a few memories, very beautiful, and sometimes it's painful. Beautiful, when I was walking with my parents next to our house, we had like a small mountain where we were used to go and searching for za'atar, actually, this plant. For me, it's the smell of Palestine. This is something that I can't forget. I even brought some seeds and I planted here in Paris so I can feel that I'm back home. This is something that my father teach me, how to plant a tree, how to plant the peace inside us. Other memory, I can say that in front of us, we had at that time English hospital, actually, when the English, they were occupying Palestine. And then it was transformed to Israeli camp occupation. And I remember when I was a kid, I was making some troubles against this occupation, and they were always trying to to find me, and I was like very small, escaping. I succeed all the time. So yes, I have this kind of memory that I can't forget. Each time I come back home, I see the same building, but now it's empty. So my childhood also, I spent it with my father in the workshop. Now you see behind me, I'm in a workshop. Nothing changed actually since day one. I was with my father. He's my father and my friend as well. He teach me a lot, and I'm so proud of my parents. They gave us all what own. So this rich ambience brought us until here.
You clearly come from a vastly artistic family. What influence have your parents had on your own coming of age as an artist?
As an artist, I remember we were like all the time at home, we hear music. Let's not forget that my brother Samir, he's 10 years older than me. So when I was born, he was already playing oud. So since day one, I hear oud, I see ouds in like more instruments than members in the family. If I want to sit down on the sofa, I must take an instrument and put it somewhere else. So I was born in this ambience. While I was working with my father, he was always proposing me to hear music that comes from the classical Arabic music or the folklore or it's the Andalusi, let's say, period, muwashahat and all of that. You will be surprised as well that my father was introducing me to Elvis Presley as well, for my brothers too. And he was like a big fan of Elvis Presley, even drawing I had in my room like 2-3 big pictures, posters of Elvis Presley. And I was asking my father, how come you are so traditional and so proud of your origins and you are presenting me Elvis Presley? He said, for one reason. Look at this guy, how he got success. I want you to be successful like this. The guitar became very international, and it's the oud. This is the original instrument of the guitar. Why and how come the oud didn't arrive to this stage? So if you want to go there, go until the end. I want to see you like Elvis Presley one day. So this is what I was hearing from my parents. My mom, she was singing as well. Even during she was cooking, and this is the ambience.
Now your industry performing has been impacted significantly during COVID. How have you managed this year?
I didn't manage. What I can say about it, it's historical moment. We are living in abnormal situation. I've never lived since years and years, like more than 15 years, I'm performing, I'm doing tours with my brothers. All of a sudden, 1 year, more than 1 year, it's like 13 months without any concert. I can tell you, I realized many things. When we are on tour, when we are in front of the public, like each 2, 3, 4 days, we meet people, we hear like people clapping hands and having success. When we are inside, we don't realize that we need this part of, let's say, adrenaline. We miss it.
Now, your music is a fusion of Arabic and global music influences. What do you consider as the essential elements of your music?
The essential elements, actually, let's say we are coming, as I said, from a traditional family. We are we heard our background. It's the classical Arabic music and the folklore and many things. But we are so open-minded as well. We hear all kinds of music. But when we want to compose, our background, let's say our inspiration, it comes from our country, where we come from. Because today we are considered like the ambassadors of Palestine when we go outside. Although I'm not a politician and I refuse to be a politician. But when we are presenting our country, you need to present your language, you need to present your music. It's a mirror. Palestine, it's a very modest country. Even the nature, when we see, it's very modest as well, but it's very rich, very, very rich. Each time I meet people here, and they know that I come from Palestine, they say, oh, when we are there, we feel something, something very powerful. Yes, it's true. There is kind of energy in Palestine. And this energy, we need to translate it through music.
Yeah.
This is what we are trying to do.
How about budding Palestinian youth who want to take up the oud? How is the local scene in Palestine?
Yeah, let's say separate two things. To tell you the truth, I'm extremely proud of Palestinians because musically, we are going very well. Each time I go to Palestine, go back home, I'm very surprised to see children, boys and girls, having the oud on the shoulder and going to have some lessons. If you take one city in Palestine, you take how many oud players today, the percentage, it's more than Egypt. It's something, yes, very big. So I'm very proud. We have a lot of oud players, very good oud players. Unfortunately, the occupation is not giving chance to these oud players to go outside and present their music to other cultures. But let's say about oud making, no, it's in general, not only in Palestine, in all the Arab world, it's becoming very industrial, unfortunately. I think I'm the only one today who works in a very traditional way, in the sense I work with my hands, handmade, quality, not quantity. So I hope that Palestinians will take this opportunity. The association is welcoming everyone. Also, we will have projects in other countries, not only because it's based in Paris, but not only in Paris. I'm trying also to open the doors. Why not in Palestine? Why not in other country? So I'm working on this very strongly. Also, I can say thanks for many musicians also that they are making workshops. It's not only the Trio Joubran that must do that. So there are others that are really doing so well for that.
Now, as a trio, you have shared a very strong connection and personal friendship with Mahmoud Darwish, whose poetry also inspired, I believe, a lot of your work, including the Long March album.
Yeah, Mahmoud Darwish, the legend Mahmoud Darwish, we worked with him many years actually before this album, The Long March. We performed with him during 13 years. It started with my brother Samir, and then it continued with me, and then the trio joined also Mahmoud Darwish in the end. He's our inspiration, Mahmoud Darwish. He's the inspiration of a lot of people. I mean, it's a new school in the poetry that he opened, and I think he closed as well. Mahmoud Darwish it's like our father. He was teaching us many things, not only performing with him. When I was talking with him and hearing him, I was learning even music. I remember very well once when we were composing the album Majaz that got a lot of success, specifically the tune Masar. He was invited in our home for a dinner, and we said to Mahmoud, may you hear this, please, and give your opinion. So we started to play Masar, and he was extremely inspired as well from our music. And I think he went and he wrote something that we felt this rhythm of Masar in one of his poems. It was such a chemistry with Mahmoud Darwish. I think we are the only ones maybe that succeed to play music with the voice of Mahmoud Darwish, because he always refused actually to add music to his voice. He said, my voice and my poetry, it's already music, and I totally agree with him. So it was such a beautiful project with Mahmoud Darwish, beautiful moments that we shared. We traveled a lot together. Yes, after his death in 40 days, we went back home to Ramallah, and we produced let's say, show the voice of Mahmoud Darwish and our music together. It got a lot of success as well. And we continue with Mahmoud Darwish. We did another album and we had Mahmoud Darwish. In the album of the Long March, coming to the Long March, to tell you the truth, we decided not to have Mahmoud Darwish with us. He's in our heart, but we said, let's go to something else, music, only music, without Mahmoud Darwish. But we couldn't, and we end up by having Mahmoud Darwish. Unfortunately, what's happening today politically, we are obliged to say something. We can't ignore what's happening. At that time, Trump decided to, that the embassy becomes, in Jerusalem, and Jerusalem capital of whatever. So we had to say something, and that was the occasion to have one poem of Mahmoud Darwish that it was written in 1992. That was very powerful poem. We had the voice of Mahmoud Darwish and also collaborated with Roger Waters with his voice. That was very powerful one.
Now you have performed in Nazareth, Haifa, I believe also El-Quds.
When we play in Haifa, Nazareth, we know that today it's under occupation. It's considered as like in Israel, but no, for us it's Palestine and it will stay Palestine. We welcome everyone. We never say to a public, don't come to listen to our music, because we believe that our music can give a message. And it happened. It happened that once Israeli journalist that is extreme right, he doesn't believe in Palestine. Each year he puts 10 albums and there's like number 1, 2, 3, 4. And I saw this article. He said, before number 1, I put one album, it's the Trio Joubran, because they succeed to tell me that Palestine existed through their music. So that means it gives effect. It affects something. On the other hand, I remember that we wanted to produce a concert in Nazareth. That was when Palestine was capital of culture in the Arabic world. And we got the same day a letter from the Israeli Minister of Security that you can't make this concert. And if you make this concert, I still have this letter, by the way. If you make this concert, we will enter to Nazareth as we entered to Gaza. Like this, as simple as it is. So that was very difficult for us to accept. But we did the concert, but that was live from Bethlehem. We decided with the Mr. President to make it happen from Bethlehem to avoid problems, because they said they will make something like Gaza, and we didn't want any dead in our town, Nazareth. But I can say something that means that our music makes something. That means that yes, our music is a weapon, because we don't sing. There's no lyrics. We only play music with our instruments. So it gives it makes something. And I encourage everyone, each person has to make something with kitchen, with painting, with poetry, with music, with his voice, with her voice. Anything make an effect.
What does identity mean to you, and how does identity influence your work?
Identity means who I am, where I come from. This is my identity. It's my language. It's the food that I'm eating. This is my identity. It's what I'm doing in my daily life since day one, how I was educated. This is my identity. It's not a piece of paper. My identity is, yes, what I was living when I was a child, how I was educated. They will never cancel this. This is my identity. It's the smell of the sea. It's each detail, each simple detail. This is my identity.
Artistic expression being deeply connected to our Palestinian traditions and heritage. Do you believe Palestinian culture is under threat? And how can we ensure that it continues to be heard and listened to?
It's a very good question. I don't know if I can answer yes or no. Because I see, like yesterday, I can give you example. I was going to buy some food and I was extremely surprised to see in the shop minimum 7 different packs of falafel. 7 different companies of falafel. And the falafel is coming from where? It's a typical Palestinian. If you go to the street, like in New York today, like each 10 meters, there is falafel. Even the Israelis, they are saying falafel, it's their food, you know? So I think it's up to us to fight. Fighting means with actions. It's what you are doing through Craving Palestine. Each platform, each person that is saying to his friend that is not Palestinian, just a small word, it's education, actually. We need to open the eyes of people. People, they don't know maybe about falafel or about, sorry, I'm taking just this example, but it's many things, you know, not only the kitchen, even our music. Can you imagine that a few days ago I was watching TV, something about Israel, and I heard my music. What? It's like they wanted to relate my music to this. No, they are trying to steal everything, but they will not succeed. The culture is ours. It's our identity. They can try and try and try, but I advise each one again to make an action to make it resist. It's up to us. Today it's the social media. This is the this is how we can do today. We need to be together to make some projects together to open the eyes of people.
We all have a very strong connection to our, in our upbringing, to our tetas, to our parents, mama's food.
Yes, I remember many things. My grandfather, he was chef. I remember that each time I was going to visit them once a week, he was making a very long table from A to Z, really from A to Z. He was making everything. And he was explaining to us each plate. My grandma, she was also someone very simple, and she was planting things very rare. Today I'm searching for these seeds, you know. A very nice story that I wanted to tell you about my grandma. In 48, actually, she was living in a small village called Serene. And the occupation, when they start to come and to kill people, they escaped to Nazareth. And the only thing she brought from Serene to Nazareth, some seeds. It's actually the seed, it's like the sesame, you know, it brings luck. This is the only thing she brought with her. And she kept the seeds with her until the last day of her life. And she gave us some for each child, she gave some. And my brother Samir, one day after her death, he tried to put the seeds with some water, and a few days after, the seeds, they started to grow. And Mahmoud Darwish, he wrote something, أنا حبة القمح التي ماتت وفي الموت حياة ما. I'm the grain, wheat grain that died, and in my death there is a life. That's very symbolic. The grains are, yes, dead, but if you give a little water, there is a life. And this is what we are trying to explain to people. Each one of us is a grain. Just work a little on it, give a little water. This is a big lesson that I got from my grandma. The only thing she brought from Syria.
People in general who live in a diaspora struggle with keeping their children connected to their roots.
It starts from the land. It starts from the touch and the smell. I can tell you something very simple. I asked Paris, the mayor of Paris, to give me 4 meters square next to my home to plant something. And I got this authorization. And I planted za'atar, I planted like soj, I planted many things that comes from Palestine. And daily, I bring my son and I let him plant and of course taste and smell. That's how I educate my son. Something very simple, but he's related. We come back to Palestine maybe once each 2 years. And each time he goes, oh, I know this. And he starts to explain more for his grandfather. So no, we are doing really our best for our children to be connected. And his best plates, it's typical Palestinian.
What's your all-time favorite Palestinian dish?
I think it's dawali,
Okay.
bindings.
Palestine in one word.
My mother.
Oud in one word.
My love.
What is your hope for Palestine, Wissam?
I never lose hope, although the situation is very hard, but I can see that the new generation, I'm very young, but it's like I'm talking, when I say this, because I heard from my father and my grandfather. At that time, my father, if he was saying Palestine, he go to jail. Today, I'm not afraid to say Palestine. When I go back home, yes, they stop me for 3 hours and checking me. And if they see the oud, it's like, wow, that's a big weapon, because it's made by Palestinian. And I put inside Palestine, although I'm in Paris, I put made in Palestine. So the hope is still there. They will never kill it.
The 1948 Palestinian community, is it a tight-knit community? Has it managed to stay as a cohesive community?
It's not easy because the other part is doing his best to cancel this culture. Always I'm in contact with my family and all the friends over there to tell them, stay aware, because when you are under occupation, everything is managed by them. So at certain moment, you start to lose actually things, and this is not good. You need to stay very strong and confront, to be very clear, who is this one in front of me that occupy me, who I am, without trying to mix. The moment that we start to mix and say, we try, no, there is no try, there is occupation. There's occupation. There is a movement against humanity. This they need to know. So I hope the people, Nazareth, it's like very, it's a town where they resist a lot until today. What
is your hope or objective in your representation of Palestine through your concerts, through your performances? What message would you like audiences to come out with?
Listen, message from an artist normally, it's a pure art. I want to be an artist and successful artist. I remember Mahmoud Darwish in our last meeting, in our last show together, when we finished the show and they were clapping hands to us, and he hugged us and we hugged him, and he said something for me and for my brother. Do your best to be good musicians, excellent musicians. Fight to be a good musician. Don't worry about Palestine. If you are a good musician, people, they will ask where they come from. You are not a politician. And I totally agree with him. So when we go on stage, we are fighters, musicians, pure art. We focus on that and we present our best. Of course, we need to put in our mind and that we need to present our culture, how we talk, how we dress, how we react to journalists. There are many elements, many things, how to show that we are Palestinians as well, and explain that we are under occupation. Because if we are musicians coming from Palestine, I think people from Palestine, they are expecting from us something as well. If we have this opportunity to go outside and give this message, yes, we need to pass it. We need to pass it. You know, sometimes people after the concert, they tell us, I had a tear. Okay, I understand emotions. That's very good, excellent. But I hope one day to make someone laugh. This is my wish. I want to compose music for someone to dance on it and to be like a kid, very happy, you know. This is my wish.